So last night, the much anticipated debut of the Wyatt Six. That's what they're calling themselves, the Wyatt Six. That's Sicks or SIK or S. It's basically Wyatt Six, and that's SICKS. That's what you would think it would be spelled, but instead it's SICK numeral 6. Yeah, basically it's the number 6 after that, meaning we have one more potential member showing up, and everybody feels it could be Bliss. Now, if it is Bliss, if you will, the question is, would she be the leader? Now, we know Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, right now is the assumed leader, basically the assumed cult leader of this group. We do know that through reports and just by seeing them and looking at them, we know that the rabbit character, Rambling Rabbit, was Eric Rowan. We know Mercy the Buzzard was Dexter Loomis. We know that Husky the Pig, the one in the gas mask, was Joe Gacy. And, obviously the one we saw crawling out to the lantern, the Sister Abigail character, was Nikki Cross. Now, they have reported, according to numerous reports, if you believe them, that there will be no real supernatural, involvement with these characters. Although some would say the door opening last night, which is basically the same way that Bray Wyatt, made his re-debut, people would say that door opening, it kind of has a supernatural feel. And the way Nikki Cross's character came crawling out is essentially something that's, basically out of the ring, out of the horror film The Ring. But now the question is that everybody has, after we saw exactly what occurred backstage. I mean, every superstar, I wouldn't say was dead, I wouldn't say is dead that they attacked, but more along the lines of they were basically given a warning shot. Basically, they were given warning attacks that, hey, you stand in our way, you don't let us have what we want, this will happen to you. Or you don't come to us and accept our salvation we want to give you so you could see the light, see what's really going on, then this is what's going to happen to you. So the question obviously is, where do they go from here? Where do they go from here? Because a lot of people that talked about this last night said that this is probably the darkest, if not most violent, interpretation of the Wyatt, persona, the Wyatt verse, if you will, that we've ever seen. That this is more violent and dark, very more horror themed or suspenseful thriller horror themed than what Bray was ever allowed to do. I mean, a lot of people have said that if Bray was given the opportunity, to really just, showcase how creative he could be, show his talents to the world, not been shackled down. A lot of people say that, we could have saw something special. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to be surprised. People look at this and they probably say to themselves, hey, could this have been what Bray originally wanted to do had certain individuals, like, say, a Vince McMahon, not shackled him down and said, no, you're not going to do that. You ain't going to go there. No, sir. You have to wonder. But now that we're under the TKO, Triple H, Nick Khan regime, it's like, okay, whole new ball game. We're getting blood again on occasions, when it calls for it. We're getting, very realistic, very keeping kayfabe alive kind of storytelling. A lot of things are, happening for the better. And now you have this. And the question is, how do they follow it up? And I was thinking about that myself. I was thinking to myself, okay, you did an immaculate, brilliant, magnifico, magnum opus, and I do apologize for that notification there. That's a vibration. Do apologize for that. But you just did a immaculate, magnifico, magnum opus of a debut. For this iteration of the Wyatts. Now the question is, how do you follow it up? How do you follow that all up? Next week, or even this Friday? Because the other question people have is, it basically are the Wyatt Six, if you will, the Wyatt Six. Are they, are they just bound to Monday Night Raw? Or are they going to be a faction that crosses all over? We don't know. We don't know. You see, if they're limited to Monday Night Raw, okay, we get it. You want to make sure you have a group there, a super faction, that, maybe the Judgment Day could go up against and by default be, the baby faces or whatever. Or do you have them cross-brand, appear across all of WWE, including NXT, and say, hey, we're going to sabotage everybody, we're going to hurt everybody, we're going to massacre everybody unless you take our offer and join us. That could be what happens. That could be what happens. We're not really sure. We're not really sure. We won't find out at least until, I would assume, tonight. Tonight, maybe, you might see something similar on NXT, but if not tonight, then, on SmackDown. And that could make things very interesting because you got the Bloodline over there and Legado del Fantasma, and you have to wonder, like, how is that going to come into conflict? You see, bringing the Wyatts in, the Wyatt Six, as they call themselves, it's great. It's giving all these talents that have been underutilized, an opportunity to show, hey, this is, basically give them an opportunity, I should say, to show what they can do, show how talented they can be without restrictions. And that's a great thing. That is a tremendous thing. But the question, obviously, that you run into is how do you do all this, but not have this group come in conflict with your other groups. I mean, again, one of the people we saw down apparently was Gunther, and he's associated with with Ludwig Kaiser. So, are you telling me that basically you're going to have Imperium, align themselves with Judgment Day and basically be like, hey, let's put our differences aside. We need to fight these guys. You think, is that what's going to happen? You see, that's kind of the issue. That's the issue that Triple H hopefully has worked out. Like, how do you book this faction, let them be as creative as they can be, that being Bo Dallas and his group. How do you book this faction going forward? And you also have to book these other factions that you want to push as well, like the newer iteration of the Bloodline, if the Wyatts are, a cross-brand stable, or Judgment Day, or the LWO. It's like, how do you push them? You know what I'm saying? How do you push them without, basically making your other groups and your other talents there look weak? I mean, come on. You're pushing Damian Priest right now, and letting him show you why he is worthy of being in the position he's in right now. Excuse me. But as you're doing this, and you're putting him into a matchup with Seth Rollins, which could be altered. We all know that's possibly a direction they're going to go in with one of the stories that took place last night. But again, what do you do there? What do you do if you decide you want to do the Wyatt Six and the first targets are the Judgment Day? What are you going to do? How are you going to book that? Are you going to book them to destroy the Judgment Day, or are you going to book both teams to kind of have a stalemate to where they both don't look weak? That's the question. We don't know. That's the question. We don't know. And what's interesting too, and I'm sure some people have been making this assumption, what if it's not Bliss that's the sixth member of this Wyatt group? Some have said, what if it's the spirit of Wyndham Rotundo, Bray Wyatt himself, that's the spiritual sixth member of the group, and everything they're doing is in his name? That's a good direction to go in. But still, that would be lending itself to the supernatural just a bit. just a bit, not much. But, it would be lending itself to that. And nothing against that if that's the case. That could work. To where you could have, Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, come out and say, he is here with us in spirit. He is standing here in this ring with us. That they could do that. They could do that, if you will. They could do that. Or, again, the other assumption people said is it could be Bliss. Bliss could be the other member, and she could, be the de facto real leader, because of her association with Bray in the past. But then again, and I'm sure people were thinking about this, because of the timing and how everything is going on, what if the sixth member is Liv? Think about that. She's targeting Dominic. She's targeting Judgment Day. She's trying to take all that away from Rhea. But why? Why do all that? What, because she got injured? Because she got injured by Rhea? She injured Rhea back. She took the world title, and made it her own. So that should be enough, right? But she still wants more. And there's something there too. There's something there too. Hold on for a sec. There's something there too. Like I was saying, basically, people look at that and you're thinking, well, she got the world title. She injured Rhea in return. So you think, hey, she's got what she wanted, but she wants more, right? She wants to, take more away, but why? Why? Why does she want to take Dom away and everything when she knows he's dedicated to, Mommy and the Judgment Day? It's like, what's going on here? Why is she not taking the warnings that Finn and JD and now Damian, are giving her? It's like, what is going on here? It's like, what is going on? And then you hear what Damian said at the end, right? After he confronted Liv, he said she's Wera loco, crazy. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? Could Liv be that member? And she's basically she's biding her time to reveal it, so that way she can have her own group go up against Judgment Day, and she could try to get her ultimate revenge. We don't know. But that's a name that I think other people have been floating about. What if it's Liv Morgan? That's the sixth member. And not Bliss, not the Spirit of Bray, although either one of those would be fine because of, the connection, especially Bray. But still, it's like, what if she's that member? Because her name had been floating about before in the past when Bray was, still with us. Her name had been floating around in the past as being associated with him. What if she is this time around? What if she is that member? Again, what if she's the one behind all this so she can get the revenge she wants? So she can have her own group to put out the Judgment Day and then send a message to the locker room outside of what happened last night that, hey, don't mess with me. And if you're going to be my friend, you're my friend for life. You're my partner for life. What if that's the case? We don't know. But I do know one thing. Next week, because a lot of people have said, you need to do a follow-up. It's like, you need to do a follow-up on this. How do you follow it up? You can't just do it and not follow it up. I think what they need to do right at the start is they need to start Monday Night Raw, if not SmackDown, because again, it all depends on whether or not this group is going to be cross-branding or not. If they're going to be cross-branding or not. But what they need to do, either way, is they need to start either Raw next week or SmackDown this week with an overall roster talent meeting. They need to start the show off with that, make it as real as possible, have Triple H address the situation, have him address the fact that, hey, we all know who these people really are, and I tried to communicate with them, and I think I understand what they want, and maybe you hint at the fact that it's, that what they want, is associated with gold. Again, Again, that's one way to follow it up, because at least you have the roster concerned about their safety about after what happened, on Raw. And you have Triple H saying, look, it's not going to happen again because I was able to talk with them and I think I know what they want. And again, it might have to do something with gold. Now, some people will be like, well, if that's the case, then if that's the case, you're going to have, if it's about championship gold, then why go through what they did last night? The reason they went through what they did last night is to basically say, hey, look, if you're not with us, you're against us, and this is the price you're going to pay. And also, it's a message of, hey, if you're against us, especially if it's got to do with championship gold, this is going to be your future. So again, we don't know, but it does. But I do believe Friday at the latest, if not tonight at the latest, but mostly on Friday at the latest, if not Monday at the latest, if you will, they need to start Raw. They need to start out Raw with a roster meeting, either backstage or in the ring, and address the issue. Have Triple H be the one that does it. Have him admit, look, he thought bringing these people to maybe have him admit that, look, I didn't think Bo, and you can have him address him by his real name, Bo, would go this far. I mean, I get it. He feels his actual family has been disrespected, and now he wants revenge. And he says that's basically what Bray wanted. You can even acknowledge Bray. They're saying that's what Bray's real mission was. He wanted revenge for his family, for his father, for his uncle, for them not getting the opportunity in WWE that they feel they should have got. And that might be what it is. Like, hey, you're not giving us the opportunity to be who we want to be. You're not letting us have the opportunity to be the champions we could be. So it's going to be interesting how they follow it up, but I think the best way they need to do it is they need to follow it up with the roster meeting, either backstage or in the ring, address the issue, and then try to go from there. Try to go from there. Maybe even have the Wyatt Sick6 confront them in some capacity, or even retaliate verbally in some capacity as to why they did this. And maybe even allude that, hey, my family, you can have Howdy, Bo, if you will, address that my real family has been disrespected, and that me and my late brother, we've been wanting to get even for a long time because you never had faith that our family could carry your company. That could be something they do. Again, that could be something they do, but we're not 100% sure. But it's something. But it's something. But we'll have to wait and see. Again, there's a lot of elements that have yet to be, visually seen or hinted at. But I think when you look at all the things going on, there's something that really is going to get people to tune in and watch every week now, because they're going to want to know, okay, they're called the Wyatt Sick6, that's S-I-C-K numeral 6, S-I-C-K numeral 6. It's, there's something that's going to, get people to tune in to see, okay, who is that sixth member that could be part of this group? Could it be Bliss? Could it be the Spirit of Bray? Could it be Liv? We're not really sure. But, people will look at all this and they'll even try connecting the dots. And that's what's going to make it intriguing. And I'll tell you this right now. If we got a taste of how violent this group could get in story, while they're on USA still, imagine how violent they could get, if they keep the stable going and they do it right and not rush it, let Bo and his team, be, as creative as possible. Imagine how violent they could get as they get to Netflix and they have less restrictions. That's going to be something. But again, a lot of questions still have to be asked. How do you follow this up? What's the follow-up next, in this upcoming week, tonight maybe, or SmackDown Friday? What's the follow-up going to be? Is this brand going to be, is the stable, I should say, going to be cross-branding? Where they basically, are not affiliated with any brand and they just attack anybody and show up anytime they want. Also, the other thing is, who is that sixth member? People are going to want to know these questions. And again, when I look at the sixth member, I'm not saying that I'm against, Bliss or the Spirit of Bray being that sixth member. I'm not. But again, I look at Liv and I see how Damien described her. It's like, there might be something there. There might be something there. Because again, you would think she's got everything she's wanted. Her payback is complete, but it's still not enough. It's like something's not connecting. It's like something's not connecting, but I think that connection is going to be made very soon. And it might be, because of the Wyatt Six. We don't know. But again, the question now is, how do you follow it up this week, as early as tonight, as early as Friday, as, at the latest next Monday? How do you follow this up? How do you do it? We'll have to see. We'll have to just wait and see what they do. And that's all I can say. But I will admit, it was very masterful, very magnifico of how they did it. And it does make. And here's the thing: this is how you want to debut a group. People have made comparisons when the Nexus did what they did, upon their debut. Being very similar to NWO, basically showing how much of a threat they could potentially be, and that nobody was safe. NWO did the same thing, right? They did the same thing. And when they would attack, like the backstage attack they did back in '96, at the Disney MGM, and all that, and then afterwards and stuff, it showed you how much of a threat they were, to the point that you had people in WCW storyline-wise being like, we don't want to fight you, we're going to be with you, because that's how much of a threat they were being, because they didn't care who you were, heel or face. They were going to take you all out. And when you look at how the Wyatt Six were represented last night, it feels very similar in that manner, to where it's not going to matter if you're a heel. It's not going to matter if you're a heel or a face. They're going to take you all out, because they don't care. All they care about is destruction, unless you join them. You join them, you'll be saved. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys, on the Wyatt debut last night, the Wyatt Six debut. How did you feel about it? And how do you think the follow-up will be? Who do you think could be the sixth member? Do you think I'm on to something with one of them, especially potentially one that's currently Wea Loca, as Damien called her? Or, do you think this stable might be cross-branding? Like maybe even tonight on NXT? Let me know. Love to hear from each and every one of you on this. And until then, I am out.